what is the difference then? Because I want to get into the greatness mindset, because you are teaching people how to unlock the power of their mind and live their best life today, which is what you've been doing professionally and now personally over the last few years. What is the difference between motivation and discipline? Because I find that a lot of the time people think like, oh, I'm so motivated by that, or I'm so inspired by that. But what you just explained is far more of a dedicated discipline for the self-work, the inner work. Talk to me about the difference between those two, and where do we find them?
I think motivation is for people that don't have a meaningful mission. Discipline is for people that are clear on their identity of who they want to become and the mission that they have that is meaningful for them, not only for them, but for those around them. And you know, when I was growing up, I wanted to be successful. That was kind of the goal and the mindset, is how can I become successful? How can I accomplish my goals as an athlete? How can I be a pro athlete? How can I make money? How can I get, awards and all these different things? For whatever reason, that's what I thought of, is I wanted to be successful. When I turned 30 and started realizing how big of an ego I actually had, and how selfish I actually was in life. And I was a fun-loving guy, but my intentions were more for me to look good, for me to win, for me to be successful, for me. And this is one of the reasons why I love you so much, because your mission is about service. I started to realize at 30 that success was selfish and greatness was really about service. Right? Greatness was not about just me. It was about having an intention of a dream that I might have, but including others in the dream. Where success is more about accomplishing goals and dreams for just you, and not as much thinking about others. Maybe others are included, but the intention is really like, how do I look good? How do I get this award and make this money and get this credibility? And that's why 10 years ago, I said, I have to completely shift my identity. And it was an unwinding of like 30 years of programming. So I had to shift the identity from, okay, and I love that you always talk about collaboration over competition. I was all competition, right? And there's healthy competition in like sports and things like that. But in the game of life, we've got to be collaborators. We've got to be thinking about we instead of me if we want to go far. If we want to go fast, that quote, you can what is the quote? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Something like that. That's it. Yeah. And if you want to go fast, you can do it on your own quickly, but it won't take you far, and you typically burn out. Motivation, I believe, is for people that want only success. But discipline is when you shift your identity based on a meaningful mission. That's why I start the book with meaningful mission, because all the great people that we've interviewed who have health, happiness, and are healed, I think that's greatness. They have a meaningful mission that's beyond them. They have something more, and that is an identity that has non-negotiables, where they're able to be disciplined because it's something bigger than them. Whereas success by itself needs constant motivation, right?
I love that you just shifted that desire of like selfish goals or like self-based goals to service. Because that for me was the thing that switched when I met the monk, right? So I heard that at 18, and that was just, to my 18-year-old mind, I was like, what? Like, wow, like no one's ever said that to me before, and I would never have learned it if it wasn't for meeting the monk. And you're saying you learned it at 30, or that's when you realized that after being successful to some degree that you'd achieved then.
Externally successful, internally suffering.
Yeah, wow.
And no one wants to suffer. No one. Yeah. It's interesting. I was just interviewing a guy before this today, and I said on a scale of 1 to 10 of your inner peace and self-love scale, 10 being you love yourself, you have a lot of inner peace, 1 being you hate yourself, no love. Where are you? He said, I'm a 5.
Wow.
And I said, and this is a guy with a massive company, extremely fit, shredded, like people around him, but internally a 5. And it goes back to what you talked about. I love the intro, which is happy, healthy, and healed.
Yeah.
Healing, which is, I said, why do you think you're a 5? And he said, I haven't dealt with the inner stuff. I've dealt with the mental side of discipline and structure and organization and working hard and grinding. But the emotional side of healing your heart, I believe, is the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how shredded you are, how wealthy you are, how successful you are, how many cars you have. If your inner emotional state is suffering, you are losing. And when your inner emotional state is at peace and focused on service, it doesn't have to be changing the world, but service to the people in your life, that's when you are successful.